Alright, well, Assassin's Creed Rogue. The freaking other pirate plundering adventure that we have after Black Flag. Now, we're doing late night chillin' tonight, and this is gonna be like the last night that I can do before the university semester late night chillin'. It is currently, at the time of streaming this, the 30th of August, and my university semester starts up on September 1st. So there's still the 31st of August, but I can't stay up hella late night on a school night, you know? So this is essentially like my last completely open day before university year 5 starts up. So we'll see what happens with that. My last late night chillin' before then. We'll still have like weekend late night chillin', and I think I have like an open day in my schedule. I think Thursdays I have open in my schedule, so maybe we'll do like Wednesday late night chillin' when the university semester starts up again. I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure it out. I'm sure I do have Templar maps. I'll figure it out next time, I think. So yeah, I figured, hey, before starting the new university semester, how about for the last little smidge of late night chillin' that I could do, how about we do some Assassin's Creed Rogue? Because this is a game that both this and AC4 are games that give me great comfort, and you know, it's fun and satisfying to go around just collecting things, which I think might also mean that we're gonna start out this session by just like collecting things and talking about stuff. But it's your birthday. Well, is my chat off? My chat was off. Oh yeah, because because the freaking recent Dark Souls 2 stream, the internet died and was gone for basically a full day, and I started recording from there instead of streaming, and I recorded and turned off chat and alert box and all that fun stuff. I hope you're having a good birthday today though, Twitch boy J Miggy. Let's see here. We're gonna go this way. We're just gonna collect some things. The bank is full. I'll go get the stuff from there. From there later is what I shall do. We'll probably do some story stuff this stream, but someone around here wants to kill me. Hi, do you want to kill me?
I'm so glad
Like I said, this is a game that I get enjoyment out of playing. If I want to hop into a video game on this channel to put a smile on my face, this is the game to do it. It was the shove of death. That was what it was there. We're going rogue indeed. Hawks, how's it going today? My goodness. NG Miggy, did you do anything fun for your birthday today by chance? Have anything interesting going on? Sabotage the gang's poison reserves. Locate and kill the gang leader. Cut down the gang flag. Okay. I can do that. You gotta love the shove of death. Went out to eat with family. Nice. I wonder when the last time I went out to eat was. I know I've done it at least once or twice since COVID started. Maybe once or twice in the past, like, 2 years, basically. And that's it, really. Can I give you a shove of death? Oh, I would, but then your friends would notice. So, gang leader detected me. Gosh darn it. Well, I thought I was being sneaky. But good to hear that you're doing well, though. Falcon kick. It always makes them bug to hell out. So that's the gang leader over there? Wait. Whoa, wait here. Yeah, I need to sabotage that. Yeah, on my birthday, I never really do anything all that crazy. Usually just keep it simple as well. I always stream, is what I do on my birthday. I relive a little bit of my childhood, and I play through... One of my favorite game series is growing up, the Sly Cooper games. So, my first year as a content creator, on my birthday, I played through Sly 1, and then I played through Sly 2 the following year, and then I played through Sly 3 this year. And now next year, I don't know what I'm gonna do anymore, because I'm out of Sly games. There's technically a Sly 4, but that doesn't exist. We don't talk about that one. That game does not exist. But now that I'm out of Sly games, I actually don't know what I'm gonna do next year. Maybe it will just be like going out and having foods with the family is what it might just be. I don't know what the heck. I'll figure it out by the time next year rolls around, I guess. Only enjoy me in these dark times. Yeah, it's been a pretty crappy couple years. Is what it's really been. I don't know where this gang leader went. Can I loot this, please? Thanks. But yeah, there's a rumor Sony's making a new Sly game. Hasn't that been like a rumor for the past decade? Or is there like a new rumor? Is that a new one? They're gonna watch you play Sly later? Well, I hope you enjoyed if you do wind up checking out the Sly playlist. It's like one of the most interesting playlists on the channel in the sense that, you know, each playthrough is literally a year apart. Like there's exactly a span of a year between each one, in a sense. So it goes from like brand new content creator to, okay, I've been doing it for like a year now, to basically, what? Huh? Who shot me? Did you shoot me through the building? What the heck? Not okay. Well, I guess I gotta just kill the gang leader over here. I adore Sly Cooper. If Sony does make like a Sly 5, I don't know if I'd even want to play, I'm gonna be honest. After what the heck happened with why can't I aim? My option to aim was just not there. I don't even know how to pick it up at. Like, I feel like there's very few games out there that I'll hate without having properly played them myself. Like, I never owned a PS3, so I never got the chance to play Sly 4. But Sly 4 is one of those games that I hate without playing it. Like, I've watched all the cutscenes of that game. Whoops, I thought he was gonna keep schmooving. I was trying to lead my shot a little bit. I thought he was gonna keep going to the left. What? Why did that just randomly explode? Did I just step on it? What? What the hell? What just happened? Why did that just explode? Man. My goodness, worried for our friends down where the hurricane is, safe from the fires in your state at least. Yeah, I've been seeing a bit of the news and what's going on down there in New Orleans, and I'm concerned about Guzma, who has mentioned a little bit about the stuff going on in the Discord server, and I really, really hope that, you know, everything is all right for him over there. Where's the gang leader? Anyway, let's see here. Never got around to playing Sly 4. What's wrong with it? I hear that apparently gameplay-wise, it's like one of the best in the series. Apparently the gameplay is really good, from what I hear. So at least it has that going for it, from what I hear. But the story, like, I never got to like truly appreciate the story of the Sly series as a kiddo. It's like I'd play it, but I couldn't fully understand it.
Let's have a word, Dolt.
What? How did you see me? I don't know where this gang leader is. But looking at the story from the original trilogy, like so much later, like, it is actually so dark. Like, especially Sly 2. What the hell was that? Considering you're literally going around the world collecting the body parts of your arch nemesis so you can destroy them so he can't be revived. This ancient being that was kept alive on his hate. It's like, whoa, that's kind of dark, isn't it? Stop moving. Gosh darn it. Gosh darn it. And I feel like the Sly trilogy, while it's not like a masterpiece of storytelling or anything like that, I'm not gonna look at it and be like, wow, that's as incredible of a story as something like Xenoblade Chronicles or something like that. Not like a 70-hour JRPG, but oh my goodness, for what it is such a perfect example of like a beginning, middle, and end. Like a kind of perfect trilogy in that sense, where it's like the first game introduces the characters and a bit of conflict. The second game puts the characters through hardships and challenges, through trials and tribulations. So much so. Oh my goodness, the stuff that the characters have to go through in Sly 2. And then Sly 3 is like the wrap-up of all the characters. It's what concludes all their stories. And I find it so interesting the way that, like, Sly 3 was designed to be the finale of the series. Like, with its ending, it was clearly meant to be the finale. I don't know why they kept the door kind of open with, like, the building a time machine to find out, in case they were keeping it open there. But, like, it was like a perfect ending in that throughout the entire trilogy, it kind of glorifies Sly's family. Yes, it kind of glorifies the family and, you know, what a legacy they have, and Sly wants to be like them, and that's what he does. Whoa, there we go, cool. Like, he wants to be just like them, these figures that he looks up to, and he's trying to live up to their expectations of him and such. And then in the final game, the main villain was like one of the family's making, with the main villain freaking, what's his name there, Doctor whatever the hell, I'm honestly forgetting right now. I'll remember it later. But he was a enemy of their own making because he was the equivalent of Bentley. He used to be with Sly's dad, and rather than him getting like a cut of the pie of, you know, all the fortune that they acquired during that time, it's instead just locked away in a vault because of, so this whole family can, you know, for their pride, essentially, for them to be like the greatest thieves, have like the, why can't I climb up that? Have like this great vault full of loot and never actually use it on those around them. You know, never actually put it to any good use or like help out the people that made it all possible. Dr. M, I think was his name, I'm just now remembering. So that's what made him pissed off and made the villain. And when you're in the vault after all this time that's like glorified the family, you see in the vault that, you know, there's just this massive fortune sitting around doing nothing. And the way that the music comes in, it kind of makes you question, like, is this really the best path? And is this really what Sly wants to live up to? And I find it very fascinating how by the end of that game, he decides like, no, this is where the cycle ends. This is what has created villains like the villain of that game. This is where the cycle ends. I'm going to give the fortune to, you know, my friends and family that made it possible along the way. And he's going to fake amnesia and go live out the life that he wants to live outside of what his family expects of him. Why? Who the heck are you and why are you gold? As if I'd have to kill you. You're an ally, apparently. Gang leader detected me. I don't know what the heck is going on there. So it's like a perfect example of how to make a trilogy in that sense, of like a beginning, middle, and end, and I find that very fascinating. So, like, Sly 4 already had to have, like, you know, it had to build off of that in some way. Like, if you're gonna bring the characters back after an ending like that, it has to be in some way where it's like, they're reluctant to do so. Where it's like, they don't want to come back to oh, I forgot to turn off the chat in case I use that for a thumbnail, whatever. Like, if you're going to have a believable story in Sly 4, you have to, like, the characters have already wrapped things up. They're done with their adventure. If you're gonna bring them back, especially Sly, who freaking stopped being a thief after Sly 3, you better give, like, some massive reason in Sly 4 for them to come back and get back to, like, adventuring. But the story in Sly 4 is Sly's living out his peaceful life not as a thief, and then he's like, but you know what? The old itch came back, and I just knew that I had to pull a heist. It's like, what? You're just gonna throw away his entire character arc from, like, the entire trilogy before that point? What? Like, how do you do that? You can't. Why would you do that? Like, there was a whole trilogy where his character was finally wrapped up, where he's like, okay, like, I enjoyed this life, but it's not for me. It's what made people around me not be able to live their best life, and maybe I don't have to live up to the expectations of those around me. And then literally the opening cutscene of Sly 4, Sly's just like, you know what? The old itch came back. I just knew I had to pull a heist. And it's like, oh my goodness. Like, did the writers of that game read like the briefest synopsis of the prior games, or maybe not play Sly 3 at all and just be like, yep, he just loves thieving. That's what his character is. And that's what they made his character. And it's like, oh my goodness. Like, so that's already red flag number one. But story is very important. Like, when Destiny launched, it didn't have a bad story. It practically had none at all, and that turned a lot of people off from the franchise. But now Destiny is one of the best stories of gaming, in your opinion. It's a lot more popular, a lot more respected now. Like, story can absolutely make or break a game. And I mean, if you establish your IP to have like a mediocre or bad story, like a lot of main series Pokemon games where it's like, okay, it gets the job done, but it's not going to be anything all that crazy, then that's what people will expect from that IP. And then when another game comes out that has like a mediocre story, it's just like, okay, you don't expect like a breathtaking story in this, or like a Mario game or something like that. Like, you don't play a Mario game expecting a masterpiece of a story. You play a Mario game expecting to like save the princess and whatnot. So like, it also depends on like the standard that you set in that IP. And the IP in Sly was like, okay, it's still like a family friendly kind of thing, but it does tell like a serious story underneath the surface and like serious development there. And Sly 4 is just like, yeah, screw it, let's throw that out the window. And the time machine, the reason why the time machine was being made, and the reason the gang comes together is because all of a sudden Bentley starts noticing that, like, stuff is vanishing from the Thievius Raccoonus. Snyder is a New York pamphleter that has been troublesome for quite some time now. She has been stalking the HQs of our allies and eavesdropping on our conversations. This person needs to be silenced. Let's intercept that assassination thingamabob there. So essentially the story of Sly 4 is Bentley was developing a time machine after the events of Sly 3, and he was trusted to keep guard over Sly's family's book, the Thievius Raccoonus. And one day he notices that, like, passages are missing, like someone's tampering with the timeline. What's going on here? So he can only determine that somebody else made a time machine somehow, even though that was his technology. Oh, also his girlfriend disappeared, and that has to do with that. His girlfriend he was working on the time machine with, Penelope, freaking vanishes, and somebody else has a time machine and is tampering with the timeline. So that's when he reaches out to Sly and is like, hey, let's go back to, like, thieving stuff, because someone's messing with the timeline and taking out your family and stuff. So let's go to different time periods and go try to save them. Where is this guy? What the hell? And I feel like maybe that plot could have still worked, but it should have been a plot where Sly was like, you know, I left that life behind me. I really don't want to pursue this. Like, he has to be, like, really reluctant to pursue that lifestyle again. But in Sly 4, he was just like, you know what? This is just the excuse I needed, because I never liked this. You're in the freaking thing? Like, he gives up his life of thieving to, you know, live a more peaceful life. And in Sly 4, he's like, you know what? I don't like this life after all. I changed my mind. So this is the perfect excuse for me to go do that. Like, there was no reluctance or anything at all. So they get in the freaking time machine and they start going to the different timelines to, save the family and stuff. The villain in Sly 4 that's actually erasing these, that is actually tampering with these timelines. He's going around and stealing the canes of all the Cooper family in, like, different timelines. And his villain motivation is he was jealous of the Cooper family because he had a thieving family as well. And he was jealous that the Cooper family was always better than him. So he wanted to go to all the timelines and take their canes because that would prove that he's, like, the better thief throughout all of history. So him as a villain was literally just a worse version of Clockwork from Sly 1 and 2. Like, in Sly 1 and 2, I feel like Clockwork could have been, like, flushed out better. Like, you know that he was a freaking villain that was kept alive off of his jealousy of the Cooper line and was literally made immortal by his jealousy and hate. And he's downright freaky, honestly. Like, you never understand his full backstory, but you know, he's downright freaky in his motivations. Whereas in Sly 4, the main villain is just this whiny little bitch that's just like, oh my goodness, I'm jealous of your family, so I want to prove that I'm the better thieves. That was already done in, like, a way more dark way. They just, like, they basically just took Clockwork as a villain and just made it, like, an annoying freaking skunk man guy. So there's that. So, yeah, they literally took aspects from the previous games and did it worse. If the rumor is correct, Sucker Punch is returning to the series. That would be interesting. But rumor is it would be a reboot. That would be better. Don't try to pick up off of Sly 4, because Sly 4, in terms of storytelling, was a train wreck, and I'd prefer that not to be canon, because my goodness, the stuff that it ruins there. Like, it undoes all of Sly's character development. It essentially redoes a villain. It just copy-pastes a previously done villain, except does it 10 times worse. Another one of the main characters, Murray, he has a character arc in Sly 4, a character arc about him not being good enough, and, like, him not being as much of an asset to the team, which is the exact same character arc he had in Sly 3. Like, he had a character arc between Sly 2 and 3 where there was some, yeah, Sly 4 doesn't exist. There was actually a heavy character arc that went on for him. Like, again, it was a game series that was essentially to be, like, family friendly or even geared towards kids, but had some very serious tones there. In Sly 2, when you're fighting, gosh darn it, when you're fighting Clockwork right in the final battle where, Bentley literally climbs into Clockwork's mouth and freaking pulls out the chip that's a source of immortality, essentially. The jaws literally come clamping down and take out his legs, and that's what winds up putting him in a wheelchair. And that's what winds up driving Murray down the line, down his line of thought that he has at the beginning of Sly 3, where he's not strong enough, like he couldn't protect Bentley, one of his best friends and basically his family, lost use of his legs and is stuck in a wheelchair for the rest of his life because maybe Murray wasn't able to be there in the way that he needed to, and he blames himself, and he winds up leaving the team and trying to live a life of peace. And the thing that makes him turn around is the first boss of the game. Like, the first world of that game is all about getting Murray back and, like, completing his character arc of him not feeling good enough. Can I renovate this? You want to stop? I'm trying to renovate this and talk about Sly Cooper, please. Leave me be. You want to fight now? And the thing that, like, makes him finally decide that, you know, he will bring out this side of him again is seeing his friend Bentley on the ground after being knocked down by the main antagonist in the first world, unable to move since he doesn't have use of his legs, and the main villain is approaching him, and that's when Murray's finally like, okay, that's it, I'm bringing out the old me. I've decided that maybe it's not exactly my fault that things happen the way that they were. Like, I might not be able to change the past, but I'll use what strength I have now to be able to do what I can for my friends, you know? And it's very fascinating in that way. And Sly 4 literally just takes that same character arc that he's already undergone of feeling like he's not good enough and just does it again, but worse. So in Sly 4, Murray's just like, maybe I'm not good enough to help the team. I'm just like the fat, useless one. Well, that's the arc that he already went through. Why does he go through the same arc twice? It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I am surprised the architect still wanted to talk to me there. And all this stuff you would think is already, like, bad enough. But it gets worse. It actually gets worse, the story in Sly 4. So, Sly 3 introduced a lot of characters. In Sly 1 and 2, it was just, like, the three kind of main characters of Sly, Murray, and Bentley. But Sly 3 was all about getting a gang together to enter the Cooper Vault and such. And one of the characters that joined the party in that was Penelope, who wound up essentially becoming Bentley's girlfriend in Sly 3, who was probably one of the most likable characters in that game. And, you know, it was finally somebody that, like, Bentley could really vibe with and really share his smarts with and such. And Bentley has his own arc where, in Sly 3, because she initially falls for Sly, and then freaking Bentley has his own little character arc in Sly 3 where he's like, oh, why do the girls always go for Sly? Why aren't there ones that, you know, appreciate good intellect and stuff like that? And he winds up feeling useless for a little while, being like, yeah, I wish I could, like, run across ropes and, you know, land on flagpoles and all that cool stuff that Sly does, but I can't. I'm stuck in this chair. And eventually she winds up turning over to him, falling for him, and it was honestly really cool to see how that played out. In Sly 4, they made her a bad guy. Like, in Sly 4, it seemed like at first maybe the plot was leaning towards, oh no, the main villain kidnapped her and, like, took this time travel technology, and that's why the main villain has this time travel technology. No, she joined the villain of her own free will. I want to know what her character motivation for, trying to erase, like, Sly's family was and all that fun stuff. Her motivation was money. It's just like, oh, Bentley, if only we had worked together to make, like, evil contraptions, we could have become rich. When at the end of Sly 3, they literally had access to, like, thousands of years of thieving riches right beside them. Did the writers of the game forget this? Literally at the end of Sly 3, they have access to this vault that is literally just mountains of gold. And her character motivation for turning evil was money. When, how? It doesn't make any sense. How is your evil villain motivation like, oh, we could have had so much more money if you had just come and done evil things with me? When by the end of Sly 3, they literally had access to a vault of freaking, like, you literally explore in Sly 3. It's literally just countless passages of mountains and of gold, and that's what you have access to at this point in the timeline. And you're villain motivation is like, Bentley, if only you had made evil machines with me, then we could have become rich together. You were already rich beyond your wildest dreams. It doesn't make sense. It literally doesn't make any sense. Like, the story of Sly 4 is the writers coming together to make a story where it's like, this all works the way that it does because we don't want to, like, make a more believable way. Like, it's one of those plots where everything works in some exact way just because. Just because. But yeah, problem is Sony gave the game to a completely different dev that had no knowledge of the series. From what I hear of Sly 4, it sounds like the developers of that game were actually really passionate for the gameplay, and that the gameplay of that game is like some of the best in the series. Again, I haven't played it myself, so I wouldn't know. But from what I've heard, the gameplay is some of the best of the series, and those actually programming it, what the heck, apparently did a really good job. But oh my goodness, the writers! The story of that game is like the most mad I've probably been at like any story in any video game ever, probably. The second maddest I've probably been at any story in a video game ever is what they did to the modern day story in this Assassin's Creed series, where throughout this whole series we have it built up to like it's even built up as of the point of like this game. Like, where's the database? Is it, yeah, Animus database, and then no, it's the Emmanuel? No, what the heck is the thing for Juno? I have no idea. But all these games were like building up to like this crazy AI is gonna try to take over the world and enslave all of humanity in modern times. Like, that is literally what all the way from Assassin's Creed 1 to around Syndicate, I believe-ish, was building up to. Like, it was gonna play out in some great big finale. And then they just abandoned that plot line. They, what kind of sound was that? They had just abandoned that plot line. And we're like, you know what? Let's just forget that ever happened in our Assassin's Creed series. And let's, nice, hold on to nothing on the left there, I guess, because this layout usually has the, other branch there. Weird. Well, I was probably supposed to dive into the hay there. But they just abandoned the plot line. They were like, you know what? Let's just forget about that plot line. They technically did resolve it in, like, a comic book series just for the sake of it getting resolved. And how it got resolved was this AI that was seemingly gonna take over the world actually wound up getting, like, a physical form. And 5 minutes after getting said physical form, she gets assassinated. Literally 5 minutes after getting, like, a physical form, she's just, like, assassinated immediately. And it's just like, oh, that plot's done now. This thing that we were literally building up to for over a decade, yeah, that's resolved now. So that's the second maddest I've ever been at, like, plots in video games. Is what happened with Assassin's Creed here. And the first maddest I've ever been at a plot in a video game was freaking Sly 4. And the sins technically don't even end there for the plot of Sly 4. There's one more big thing about it. Devs were passionate for this series, but the writers were probably not equally as passionate about it. But if they were, it could have been the best in the series. Oh, it absolutely could have been. Like, my goodness, if the writers had actually really fleshed out the plot for that. Like, I don't do a whole lot of writing, but my goodness, I could have easily written a freaking better plot for Sly 4. Sly 4's plot is like when it feels like writers go out of their way to make a plot that makes people mad. You know, by making one of the main good characters, one of the main best good characters evil for a motivation that doesn't even make any sense. Throwing all of Sly's character development throughout the whole trilogy just out the window just because. Freaking giving Murray the exact same character arc he's already done, except instead of doing it in like a really cool way like they did between Sly 2 and 3, they did it in a hella lazy way. And it doesn't make sense for him to have that arc because he already had that character development. It doesn't make any sense. Oh my goodness, we've 100% in East Village. Let's go 100% another area here, I guess. But the sins don't end there. Oh no. Oh no, they don't end there. Let's fast travel unavailable. Do I need to, am I in a restricted area now? Let's see here. Probably a decision from the Ubisoft higher-ups, because we know the Ubisoft higher-ups are shitty people. Yeah, it could well have been. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, they were building up to something big in Assassin's Creed, only to, abandon that, so that sucks. Writers probably just rushed through it and said it was good enough, maybe. Writers are just like, yeah, let's just make something here. Like, it feels like the writers really didn't understand the plot up to that point, is what it was, considering considering what happened. But there is one final massive sin with the plot of Sly 4. It doesn't even get a proper ending. It's a cliffhanger ending. So how Sly 4 ends is they're in this big time travel blimp for the final showdown, and the time machine is like malfunctioning, and Sly and the main villain are fighting as freaking time is malfunctioning, and this portal is sucking a whole bunch of things in and all that stuff. And after Sly defeats the villain, and the villain's like hanging there, and you know, Sly's won, and he says some snarky response because the writers of Sly really didn't understand him there. The villain's just like, well, I don't want to die. So Sly helps up the villain. The villain freaking yoinks Sly's paraglider and is like, aha, I'm out of here. And then he paraglides with Sly's paraglider to safety, though he does wind up getting like caught and arrested, and that's the end for that villain. But Sly, who couldn't leave the on fire blimp that was going all crazy with time, he gets sucked into like a different time period, and the heroes don't know where Sly is. They can't track him down because they don't know where he is. And that's how Sly 4 ends. And if you 100% the game, you get like a secret cutscene at the end that reveals that he's in ancient Egypt. And that's where he's canonically been for the past decade, because Sly 4 never got a proper ending. So apparently what happened? Like, a lot of people think that, you know, that must have been a thing that would lead into a Sly 5. I've looked into it before, and apparently they meant to resolve it with DLC. Apparently they wanted their main story to end on a cliffhanger and have their story actually get finished with the DLC. But the DLC never got the green light because the main game didn't do well enough for that, because the main game was, well, what I described, you know? Wow, what a trade. So they were like, you know what? Let's not resolve our story. Let's just end it on a cliffhanger. And then the true ending of the game is behind DLC. That'll be a good strategy to make some more money. Why did this guy die? He just collapsed. What hit me? So, like Azura's Wrath, the true ending was behind DLC. I've heard about that game before. I've never played it before. I don't even remember who the developers of that game were. But I've heard about it. Like, in videos that talk about shitty game business practices. That is exactly what Sly 4 did. Though I think in the case of that game, I'm not super familiar with Azura's Wrath, but I think from what I've heard, it was like you would beat the game and you got a ending. But if you had the DLC and then you beat the game, then you would get the true ending or something like that. In Sly 4, it was like, okay, part of the story is just not there. Like, part of the story is just straight up cut out, you know? And gonna be behind DLC that never got the green light. Like, they straight up didn't even finish their shitty story. And, freaking were like, we're gonna finish our shitty story during DLC. But they never did, because the main game never did well enough. So, that's canonically. If you want to consider Sly 3 canon, then, Sly has been canonically stuck in ancient Egypt for, like, over a decade now. Which is so saddening. So, even if it did have, like, a proper ending, I probably still wouldn't want to consider it canon, because, oh my goodness, they literally just took the story of the Sly trilogy and were like, what ways can we screw this up, you know? Makes me salty. Yeah, that's how that works. My goodness. So, as I was saying, you know, every year on this channel during my birthday, I would play through one of the Sly games, reliving my childhood and such. But now it's been 3 years, and we've gotten through all 3 of the Sly games. We're not doing Sly 3 next year. I can say that for certain. Like, a lot of people would look at that and be like, oh, that means you just gotta do Sly 4 during 2022. No. No, let's not, maybe. I'll pass. No thanks. Like, there are games that I play on this channel sometimes because they're bad. But, like, some games that I play on this channel that I play that they're bad, I'll usually play because they're funny bad. Like the modern Roller Coaster Tycoon games that are in, like, such an unplayable state. Ow. That, you know, we play them and we laugh at it, you know? But my goodness. Sly 4 isn't even funny bad. It's just sad bad, you know? It's just genuinely depressing bad. It's like anybody that's played, again, like it depends, storytelling in games depends on like what the IP up to that point has said. Anybody that plays Sly 4 is like their first Sly game ever might not notice anything wrong. But anybody that played the prior games and really enjoyed the prior games, that's literally, playing that game would be like a form of torture. Like, I just imagine, like, an FBI form of torture, something like that. They ask them, have you played the Sly trilogy? Yes, I have. What the heck? Here, play this game. And we're gonna make you play this game until you give us the information we need. Is what I just like to imagine. Like, oh my goodness. Like, it's just painful. So, like, I'll play games that are funny bad sometimes on this channel. Like, you know, modern RCT. But Sly 4 is just, you know, sad bad. And it would just feel like a weird thing to play because from what I hear, apparently the gameplay itself is good. Apparently the gameplay is good. So, you know, playing gameplay that's actually, like, good fun for, you know, anybody that's played the series there. But having, you know, a story that's literally just, like, a painful mess. I don't know if I can put myself through that. Oh, come on. Like, again, I've never played Sly 4 before. Like, I'm giving my review of a game that I've never played. Am I able to give a fair review for that? I'm able to give a fair review of the story. I can know the story of something without having played it. Ow, stop. Considering, you know, I've seen all the cutscenes of it, so I can review the story. I can't review the gameplay, but, I may never have played it. I don't think I can bring myself to. Like, I honestly don't think I can. I feel like I would, freaking pass out from the stress or something like that is what I feel like I would do. I feel like I would be so dead inside that I wouldn't be able to continue. Like, I don't know for certain. I haven't tried playing it before. But call it a funny feeling that... Ow! Stop! My goodness. So, there's that. Show Sly 4, they start screaming, no! No! That would be me. You want to subject me to torture? Freaking put Sly 4 in front of me. Like, I have a lot of Stop! I have a lot of memes on my computer from, you know, when I go live with whatever game. And so whenever I see like a meme of a game that I think I might stream at some point, I'll add it to my meme folder and, you know, I'll post them when I go live with said game. Like, for example, today I posted one of my favorite Assassin's Creed Rogue streams since Shay constantly in this game says, I make my own luck. I make my own luck. Somebody made this, apparently. And it puts a smile on my face for whatever reason. But I have this memes folder on my computer, and I've seen a lot of Sly 4 memes around, so I actually do have a decent amount of Sly 4 memes on my computer somewhere around here. Let's see here. I'm fairly certain I do. Maybe I didn't even save them. Maybe I saw them without saving them, and I decided not to save them because I figured I'd never stream it. Oh, maybe I did save some. What are some of these things? It's basically a whole lot of other people that really don't like the fourth game there, is most of what I have here. What else do we have here? Oh, there's also this. There's also this. The Sly collection is supposed to be like the 3 Sly games together in like an HD collection. So the group that worked on Sly 4 first made the Sly collection, which is like the original 3 games in HD. But oh my goodness, I genuinely think it's worse than something like 3D All-Stars or Skyward Sword HD. Another thing that I've never played, but my goodness, they turned it into HD without changing like any of the models or anything. Kind of like, you know, 3D All-Stars or Skyward Sword HD, but it's gonna look way wonkier for a PS2 game. None of the render distance has been changed. Maybe it is basically just the equivalent of like Skyward Sword HD or 3D All-Stars. Like, none of the render distance was changed, meaning you might not notice it in the originals, but you come semi-close to something and it spawns into existence, it's like, oh, what the hell? But you know, with the blur of the originals not being in HD, you wouldn't notice that. And they literally didn't change any, like they changed the aspect ratio to 16:9 from 4:3, so it's like a full widescreen HD. But they didn't change any of the things that were pre-programmed to be for 4:3. So if you open the pause menu will be a square and you see like the edges of the world still in the background on the side. If you open up the binocucom, the essentially like binoculars and way that the characters talk with one another in the game, it'll show a square and then the actual real parts of the world on the side. They literally couldn't bother to change like any of the menu UI. Or there's a bit, for example, in Sly 2 where you unfreeze this mammoth that's frozen in ice, and after it comes out of the ice, it immediately goes into the water and like refreezes again. At least that's what you would think. In reality, in the original, it goes off screen and then its model stops moving and then like a splash sound effect plays that makes you think that, you know, it's gone into the water when it hasn't, because you can't see it, you know. Why would you need to have it actually go into the water when it's off camera anyway? Well, it's off camera in 4:3. It's not off camera in 16:9. In the Sly collection that this same group made, if you when you get to the story point where you use this laser and this freaking mammoth is freed from the ice, it'll like go towards the right side of the screen and then it'll just freeze like in place, essentially. Like it just stops moving, it just freezes, and then you hear a splash sound effect when it's not anywhere near the water. And oh my goodness, the I forget the name of those that worked on the on Sly 4 and the Sly collection, but whatever their company name was, screw them. Hello Enzos, welcome back to another set of shenanigans. Hope you're doing well today. Oh my goodness, that is the oh, I forgot to access my fleet at the beginning of the session. Sumo Digital, that